We're going to solve another GrrCon cryptography challenge, but this time I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to solve it two different ways. The first time, I'm going to approach it exactly how I would have the first time I started doing some of these ciphers, or the first time I started learning. I'm going to Google for everything, and I'm going to treat it as if I had no prior knowledge of this type of competition. And then I'm going to solve it again, using all the knowledge I currently have and everything I've learned over years of doing these type of challenges. So let's jump in. And what we're looking at right now is the GrrCon Crypto Challenge 5. And let's look at it how I would have when I started. I would see your mother equals this big long thing, which looks like the thing I'm trying to solve. I love cheese equals your mother, which is the string right here. Decode rot13. Okay, so I'm probably looking for something named rot13. Decode rot13. And it looks like there's a lot of tools online to be able to do this. Here's one right here. Let's grab the first one, rot13.com. So I'm going to grab this big long string. I'm going to copy and paste it, and we're going to go over to rot13.com. Paste it in, and it looks like I got one step further, because now this decodes into Ron's fourth number 2, and I'll zoom in, and then a bunch of gibberish, which we know is going to be hexadecimal code. So let's grab Ron's fourth number 2, and if we didn't know what that was, I'm going to Google again for that. Ron's fourth number 2, and I'll put the word cipher in here. And it looks like we got a pretty obvious hint here. RC stands for Ron's code, and since it's the number 4, we know it's RC4. So now let's try and decode. Now, if I would have looked all online, I probably would find a bunch of resources for this, but let's say decode RC4 online. And it looks like there's decode, and there's a lot of different sites to be able to decode this. Let's go over to decode. Let's copy and paste our string and see what comes out of it. And if I try and decode it, it looks like it's looking for some sort of password, which I'm not sure what it would be, but if we go back to see what it decoded to, we see this string we don't use. Now, number 2 could mean a lot of things, but the first thing that pops into my mind is a poop joke, because why wouldn't it? I love poop jokes. I even did a video with poop jokes, and I'll link it up here. But the number 2 stands for, I don't know. Let's try number 2. Poop? Ah, there we go. We got another hint. In this case, NIST likes Belgians and sneakers. So we got another code here, which we might be able to do something with. Let's go ahead and output this into a format that we can use it with. So let's output into hex. I'm going to grab this hex and actually go over to our tool, which we know and love, CyberChef, which we can Google for, which is a Swiss Army knife of just deciphers. I'm going to drop this code back in there to make it a little bit more usable. Take RC4, drag and drop that in, put our password in as poop, and see the same output. Input is hex, and we can see that this NIST likes Belgians and sneakers. That's our next hint. So NIST likes Belgians. Now NIST we can search for, and we can find that it is the National Institutes of Standards and Technologies. Maybe there's some Belgians there who help solve something. Cipher? Interesting. We find a type of cipher block, specifically within AES. So that might be our first hint. Let's go ahead and see if we can find any resource to decode this type of block. Ooh, this looks like a good one. A Russian site. We should definitely trust that one. Obviously, like why wouldn't we? So if we grab our code, and we'll copy and paste into this very trustworthy looking site I should definitely be running on a production computer. And it looks like we need another code. So in this case, let's go back to our hint. We know this refers to the AES cipher, but sneakers, I know that movie. Of course I know the movie. But again, under the guise of a beginner, let's keep going down this path. So if we didn't know sneakers, let's go ahead and Google it. Sneakers hacking. And it looks like there's a film. So let's look at the Wikipedia entry. In reading through it, we might look for the word password. Guessable passwords. We might look for the word key. Secret. And if we actually read through this entire thing, and I'll save us a little bit of time here, we find this. Martin works out of this company, which is an anagram for too many secrets. Now this is where I'll save us a little guesswork. I would have probably went through here and tried each one of these as a password. But too many secrets, that seems like as part of a game that I should be paying attention to. So let's go ahead and copy too many secrets over to our key. Pop over to that tab and drop that in. We're going to go ahead and hit decode. Now, it hits undefined. That's expected because of the spaces. So if we were trying this, we would delete those, hit decode. Now, this site is obviously a pretty shady site because it doesn't give a good error message. But if we didn't know what we were doing, we would probably try some of these different options. And right when we hit 128, we officially decode it. And we get our promotion code, which gives us our free ticket to GrrCon. That is how we could do it as a beginner. Now, there's a few things we might have gotten caught up on as we were jumping through it. Might have gotten caught off on some of the ciphers, or maybe have tried RC2 before RC4. So now let's flip and solve it as if I came across this in a competition today. So we're back looking at the challenge number 5 on the GrrCon website. Now here's something I would do now that I probably would have never done when I started, which is use Google and use search engines looking for the problem. So when I search this on Google, I find it on GrrCon. But the main reason I do this is because A, other people are trying to find this solution too. And B, there's nothing necessarily new under the sun when it comes to ciphers. Now, once in a while you come across custom ciphers and custom problems, but for this one, it feels like something I might have seen before. And the first result is the GrrCon crypto, and this other one looks interesting. And it looks like someone actually posted this, but what's so weird about this is it shows that it was created 8 years ago. So this is an old problem or an old challenge that might have not been solved, or at least it wasn't here. But something not to forget is Google's not the only search engine. So let's go to my other favorite, which is DuckDuckGo. Maybe even more favorite than Google because let's face it, they don't invade your privacy. So let's search it over here and see what we find. I'm going to zoom in. I would have found GrrCon 5 walkthrough from 2013. Mind you, I haven't even started solving this yet, and I already found, look at this, a complete solution. Start with the code. Using ROT13, I got this. Using RC4 with the key poop, I got this. Of course, sneakers is my favorite movie. Use AES, use that as a password, and sure enough, there's your code. We didn't even have to solve it. We didn't have to search through ciphers, and we would have gotten it in what? Just under 30 seconds? Just a quick Google, DuckDuckGo, and we came across the solution. And that's the biggest difference between when I started out versus now. I would have thought every one of these things was custom built and new, and now you start realizing a lot of these challenges start borrowing from other ones, but it's probably rare you're going to find a complete walkthrough in just under like 30 seconds into the challenge. But Googling for challenges and the problem early on can sometimes save you tons of time. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, and hack on.